sit over there in the corner. That's very quick, right? And use the flower. And that's fine. That is.
All right, guys, we're going on the air here.
Okay. Sounds great.
Happening. Hello, everybody. Welcome into another episode of the Wenatchee podcast. My name is Nikki Darling. It is another Friday of what was a week. This is the back room of the Wenatchee Computer facility. So that's where we're going to be broadcasting from today. And I swear we didn't coordinate our outfits, but we have a costume or a what do they call that? A uniform. There's a uniform for the show today, and everybody's required to wear a red shirt. I didn't plan it, but I've got one, and everybody else on the show seems to get one. I'm hanging with the guys and ladies. Are we going to get Ashley on the show today? Okay. Yeah, I'm hanging with the gang at Wenatchee Computer. I cannot wait for you to meet these people. Suspiciously and loosely. They're a blast. Honestly, over the past, 6 months, year, I've gotten a chance to spend some time with them and do some events and hang out. And I've really enjoyed getting to know them. And so I figured we would introduce them to the rest of the gang out here in Wenatchee, in the Wenatchee Valley. But we're not at a loss of things to talk about for sure. I have this past week was 4th of July. So I think everybody had a little bit of a weird week because there was this day off in the middle of the week with a late night doing the fireworks. And then had to go back to work on Wednesday, and it kind of threw everybody off. But I got to MC the main stage down at the Walla Walla Point Park Independence Day celebration. So I have a recap of what that day was like. It was a pretty awesome day. It was really cool. And then tonight is the start and the kickoff of the Pangborn Festival of Flight. They have their big band, Wenatchee Big Band Dinner and Dance happening up at the airport with some vintage airplanes and dinner food, really awesome food from Ring a Bell and a silent auction. And then tomorrow is the festival flight. So and it'll tell you all about what to expect for the festival of flight, because I'll be out there all day playing music, giving announcements, and just hanging out and emceeing for the festival of flight up at the Pangborn Airport tomorrow. And I have thank you. If you peeped our ad in the Comet magazine, right on the inside cover, guys, look at this. Right on the inside cover is a full page ad for the Washington State Swap Meet. Yay! Which is so cool. Yeah. People are starting to finally find out about it. There wasn't like it was like people didn't know about it, and then like the next day it was like, here it is. So now it's in the Comet and registration has opened, so people have a lot of questions about it, so we'll take a little time and chat about that too. So I want to introduce you to the other two guys that are here with me, also in red shirts. So they don't have to look so awkward just sitting there. They're the owner and operator of Wenatchee Computer, Brandon Smith.
That's me.
Hey.
Hi.
What's up? And we called you a tech, IT tech, IT genius, IT guru.
I mean, tech is modest enough that we'll just stick with that.
It's modest. Yeah, you are pretty modest. And this is Leaf. Say hi.
Hi there.
What's up? So how you guys doing today? Do you always wear red?
So, we actually do color coordinate the service areas. So you can always tell if I'm headed up north because I'll be wearing the green shirt. So
Up north. What's up north?
the other repair shop.
Oh,
So yeah.
okay.
So yeah. So we actually do when I'm repping Wenatchee, 100% wearing the red. Out we go.
So I didn't know that both were going to be sitting in on the podcast today. So I only have the one microphone here. So you either have to like smush it
Like this.
and get together, or we're going to have to do like one of you at a time.
Just take turns. It'll be great.
Take turns. It'll be great.
And Leaf, you're already like soft spoken.
Right. Yeah.
So do you just not want people to understand what you're saying half the time?
Well, you can kind of get away with a lot more if people don't necessarily pick up on everything that you're saying. So,
You're just mumbling.
yeah.
Be like, wait a minute, did he just insult me?
No.
No, he couldn't have. He's just so nice.
Try to be.
You are a pretty nice guy. So how many shops Wenatchee Computer has Wenatchee Computer, but you have a few different shops, right?
Yeah. So we actually, I had a whole corporate, career before I did my own thing. So there was one client in particular in Ephrata that I can't let go. She's like our people,
Yeah.
She's awesome. So actually shout out to Cheryl Kono Agency, Farmers Insurance out there in Ephrata. We anchor out of her little shop there. She actually lets me borrow office space there if I need to work on something, or whatever else. She's been with me quite a long time. So yeah, there's that service area, and then obviously Wenatchee, and then we have a strong partnership in Chelan as well. And so we spend a lot of time driving around, as you can imagine. So yeah, 3 service areas, 2 locations, 1, maybe 2 reps riding around. So
Depends on the day.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful area to be riding around in, and for the most part, the weather is all right. I actually don't mind driving around or around here.
Yeah.
But I feel like we share a little bit of like a kinship because we both used to work for big corporate entities, and now we've chosen the path of small shop, opening up a small shop on our own, and that's hard. Like, not even gonna sugarcoat it. It's not the easy path to take your knowledge, your expertise, and that you have gained over the years, and partially at the you can't not give credit to the people who've hired you, the corporate entities. Like for me, it was, CBS Radio is the first big corporate entity that gave me a shot,
Yeah.
And I'll forever, they gave me some really great experience, and that will forever be on my resume. And I don't regret that time, but at a certain point for me, it was like, this doesn't feel right anymore, right?
Yeah. Well, and I'm an old Radio Shack guy, so shout out to now dead Radio Shack, I suppose.
Peace out, Radio Shack.
Enjoy being a cryptocurrency, I guess. This is super weird. But yeah, no, it's one of those things where sometimes the company changes too, right? The Radio Shack. So I signed on in 2001 when they were doing group interviews and stuff still. And
yeah, I know, because my husband Ryan worked for Radio Shack too. You know that.
Yeah. It's so weird.
Like around here too. How did you guys not know each other?
I think we did.
Oh, you think you did?
I think we went to a couple manager meetings together at least.
Because both of you,
I recognize him,
are unforgettable people.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So
and he was in the mall, right?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure
I have no idea. I should know. I should.
Yeah.
He's not watching.
No,
Let's just say, yeah, he was here somewhere.
I do.
Where were you?
I think it was in the mall, and I was at the Aurora Village Radio Shack. So like
Aurora Village. Where is that?
Like on the county line. So 205th and Aurora, like Seattle area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was interesting because they redistricted, a couple times, but Wenatchee was always far enough away from any of the adjoining districts that they were part of the Seattle district just forever. So you have.
Was there one here in Wenatchee on 5th Street?
Yeah, so those were the two.
Okay.
And
he may have been at the 5th Street one.
Maybe. But like I know that they had shared personnel. I know that there was a bunch of other things, and like if he's who I remember, like I said, there may have been like some manager meetings and whatnot. But I did actually
if he was who you remember, what was your impression of him back then? Honestly,
an excited Radio Shack guy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like a bunch of us were, you know what I mean? Like we could like nerd out about like all kinds of cool stuff, you know? It's just, or like it gets, some of the corporate speak gets real, people are just like, what are you guys talking about? I'm like, oh, hold on. Let me drop the language barrier. This is what we were talking about. And then go back to like, yeah. I can't believe they rolled this out. And I'm tired of selling batteries,
Well, you guys still do that. You talk a lot of jargon.
Yeah.
Especially the two of you. You talk a lot of jargon, and I go, wait a minute, back it up, guys. I don't know what you're talking about. But people say I do that too. When I'm talking about podcasting or whatever my industry is, I'll go around and I'll start talking about whatever clicks or this or impressions and that, and people are like, whoa. You're using a lot of industry jargon there, my friend.
I think anybody who gets like soaked in the culture, though, you know what I mean? Like it's not everybody. Not everybody wears, their previous work shirts with them, whatever else. But it does. Like some people really do soak it up, and then like, it kind of, unfortunately, it drips out too. And people are like, oh, can you stop being at one point I had a girlfriend tell me, can you stop being a Radio Shack guy for like 2 minutes?
No.
We were at dinner or something,
This is why I think this is why we get along, because there's the thread, right? That passionate thing, right? For me, it was radio or broadcasting, and I have all my past T-shirts, radio station T-shirts, and I collected them from all the different places and different radio stations that I've visited or been on, and we call it the alphabet soup, right? The call letters that you've been on, the KW3 or KKRV or whatever I've been on, and I can run down the list of all the call letters that I've been on.
Well, and I don't know, like again, some people describe it as negative. I don't like, and whenever you get past a certain level of like being in an industry, or if you're really good at it, or particularly if you are opinionated about doing things your way, which was eventually what made it so I can't work for anyone else. Whatever. Like,
well, that happens when you have opinions. Yeah.
Well, okay. So like anybody who is kind of that much on fire about it and like has the chops to go independent. It also really seems to be like the jargon and the culture and like all the other stuff just comes along for the territory. You wear the industry wherever you go.
Do you think you always knew when you were working corporate that you were going to go independent at one point?
I think actually I think I've always done things my way, just kind of regardless. And some organizations tolerate that and some do not. So in the era, the reason why I mentioned earlier why I think organizations change over time and like they lose that homey feeling, or whatever else it was. Radio Shack in 2006 was not the same company it was in 2001 when the Kmart CEO took over and made a bunch of changes. And some of that was they had commission sales guys. So you're dealing with like, it's not quite the used car mentality, but you got guys that are like working on commission. Otherwise, they're making $7 an hour minimum wage. And they're like, no, my lifestyle does not support this, or whatever. So they would, a lot of us would go like hard in the paint, and would really have to know our stuff, and we're high performers. And in that environment, or anything, sales related, where I can kind of chart the course and figure out what's going on with the customer, and then, have some control over like what that ends up looking like. Radio Shack was a good home for me. It gave me a lot of good experience to figure out what I liked and what I disliked. And I don't know, like you go in and people are looking at a stereo system, or they're having a particular problem, or they don't know how to get from A to B. There's probably 5 ways you could do that, even in the Radio Shack system, which was pretty dumbed down. And yeah, so, and then they really moved away from that. And so when they took all the pay incentives out, and then they gave everybody else a $2 an hour pay raise to know nothing and tell the guy, I don't know, look it up, like that thing. I was like, okay, this isn't this isn't a place for Brandon anymore.
Yeah. So if you think it would have stayed the same, you could have found yourself moving forward and being successful within that company or within a similar company.
Yeah. So there was a core group of like, Texas Radio Shack guys at the Fort Worth like corporate location, right? And they had the old, they carried the 70s and 80s, culture that grew Radio Shack from 2,000 stores to like 7,000, right? Had those guys stayed with the company and been able to continue to chart the course, I might have been able to like be successful and like keep going. But what increasingly happened as they moved away from being a sales-based organization, we just want to turn the wheels, whatever process. A lot of those guys left. And then the number of bad managers and like, in my opinion, like short-sighted policies, which, Radio Shack obviously didn't survive. A lot of those things, that's actually what made it so I wouldn't continue. Like the thing that will turn me away from any place faster than anything else is bad management. Just period.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people feel that way. They just deal with it. I can't.
So. A lot of people do deal with it. Yeah. And I could tell you, for me, I don't ask any questions of guests or people who are on my show that I wouldn't be willing to answer myself, right? Yeah. So every time I ask a question, I kind of answer it in my head also.
Sure. Yeah.
And so when I asked you, like, did you always know that you were going to leave corporate? And was that always part of the plan? And for me, I was never part of the plan.
Okay.
Ever, ever, ever. Like this life that I'm living right now, running a company, trying to build on it, expand it. And I have this very big vision. I was always a visionary, right? I always was very ambitious. Ambitious was always a word you could peg onto Nikki, like from Little Tyke, right? But I always felt like I needed some kind of structure. Right. Because of how type A I was or whatever. A lot of it for me was this patriarchal society that we're in, and it just being taught for so long that you always need somebody overlooking your work. You always need somebody supervising your work.
Sure.
So for me, it was so foreign, the thought of being out on my own and not really having anybody overlooking or supervising the decisions that I was making. I remember working on the breakfast burrito and having conversations with John Connor in the morning going, I don't know what I would do if I didn't do this.
Right.
With just fear in my heart.
Okay.
Going, I don't know what I would do if I didn't do this.
Yeah.
And wow, like what a turnaround. And when you get the chance to do something with your experience, with your knowledge, and you go, I think I might be able to do it. Not only just do it, but I think I might be able to do it different or better, or something that's a bit more boutique to my community or the area I live in, or a clientele.
Yep.
Then I started to feel like, wow, I have a purpose. Like I have a vision that has a purpose. Yes. And that changed my life.
Well, you're almost not doing it just for you, right? Like it's really not a selfish vision at the end of the day. If you can see like a need and you're like, nobody's doing this. And then that sits for a while. In my example, it's like, what what is it that is preventing anyone from doing this? For me, it's so obvious, you know what I mean? It's so obvious, it's painful. Like, nobody, why? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
by the time it gets to that point or whatever else it is, it's almost like a compulsion, you know, or whatever else. Like, I have to find a way to solve this problem. And
but you do have to get to that point, right? You have to get to the point where you go, what's stopping me from doing this?
Yep.
And that is the real question.
that took me a long time.
What's stopping me from doing it?
Yeah.
Because those are some hard questions to answer, because I could give excuses.
Sure.
I could give excuses all day long, especially when I was starting my business.
Right.
It was COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I was pregnant. Is that enough? There you go. It's
at least two.
That's at least two reasons.
And those are big ones. So
and I had no money. Like, those are three really good reasons to not start a company.
Right. Well, and I think fear does hold a lot of people back, you know what I mean? So I don't judge anyone who can put up with, you know, a bad manager or just kind of get through their day or whichever else. Like, I mean, they're actually more resilient than I am. So for whatever reason, and I don't know, like the way that fear showed up on my side is that I kept bringing these ideas, you know, to a Radio Shack manager. There were actually some policies that my district manager at Radio Shack implemented district-wide that were my ideas. He was like, we're going to do this particular way.
Yeah.
And then they got adopted by the greater region too.
Yeah.
And so, but like, I had these other ideas about service, or I had these other ideas about like how to build systems, or, you know, well, why don't we just do this thing, you know, whichever. And I kept trying to get other people to do it. I have this, you know, this flaming torch or whatever else it is, and I'm holding it, and it's like, it's this idea and it should be a thing. And every time I show it to like a customer, they're like, why aren't you doing this already? I'm like, I keep trying to give it to somebody.
Right.
Like, that was my excuse. They're like, why aren't you doing this? I'm like, I'm trying, but I'm trying to give it
to somebody else.
I'm trying to work through somebody else's, because I don't have anything yet, right? Like, somebody in, you know, that says that they do IT, or somebody that, you know, is in copiers and they're trying to expand into that zone. They're really service oriented, or the phone company, or whoever it is that I've tried talking to about this type of stuff. They never could be like, yes, we'll take that as is and we'll keep doing that, and we'll put, you know, you can do that and our program, you know, for whatever reason, you know, I knocked on every door I could think of.
Right.
And finally, the only option left, after people were like, we're not doing it that way. All right, I'll do it.
Right.
I don't even feel like it was my idea anymore. You know what I mean? It's just feedback I've gotten from the customer. They don't want, I mean, I could be really specific, but that's very much like, I feel like anybody who starts their own thing, if you have that idea and it doesn't, I mean,
I feel like the Washington State swap meet has been a comparable experience to that. Because this has been something that has been percolating for years.
Right.
Like, people don't understand that, but it's been percolating for years in different, I feel like in different timelines in different people's lives that have now culminated together to this point where now is the right time. And what that actually means is because I had this idea like years ago when I was working in radio, actually here. So we're talking almost a decade ago now.
Okay.
And I brought this idea to the radio company I was working for at the time, and they actually brought it to the same exact place where we're having it right now. So I tried to do it through somebody, just like you.
Yep. And
they brought it to the city of East Wenatchee. They were going to do it in the Eastmont fourplex. And they tried to make it, I guess, they wanted to also pair it up with this barbecue competition, you know, have people come from all over the country for a barbecue competition. And the idea kind of just tanked.
Just too many dependencies, too many variables, too much. Huh.
For some reason, it just didn't work.
Yikes.
Yeah, which was fine.
Sure.
But you know, that happens, and just too many cooks in the kitchen, and the idea tanked. And then it kind of, here we go. And then I put it back on the back burner, and here I am with my own production company.
Mm-hmm.
I try to bring the idea back around again to another place that it didn't work, put it on the back burner again. And then here we are, where the stars align. And I ended up doing Classy Chassis with the city of East Wenatchee.
Right.
We're doing Pangborn Festival of Flight, Havana Nights in August. So we're establishing this relationship with the city of East Wenatchee, and they wanted to stop getting in the business of doing events. So they wanted to bring in maybe production companies to do events. I said, well, I'm a production company. I could do it.
Give them to me.
And I'm like, well, hey, I don't know if you remember this idea that was she did.
Right.
And she's like, let's do it. And off we went. Right. Got applied for a grant through the city because they have some money through tourism, hotel, motel, tourism tax money.
Okay.
That they have to use, right? They have to, if people or organizations and businesses can apply.
Right.
And so that's what I did. I filled out this long application thing. It wasn't too bad. And had to go and tell all about the event. And they voted on it and approved the event for $5,000 in a grant. And then I get, or the event receives $100 for every vendor that registers that's from over 50 miles away.
Okay.
Up to another $5,000.
That's not bad.
So to reseed money for next year, right? So to have this be a recurring event for sustainable tourism. That's the buzzword, sustainable tourism. Try and get people to come see our beautiful area, right?
The more I learn about the world of grants, the more I'm just like, man, there's a lot of stuff you can do if you or if you know the grant writing scene. That's a whole world.
It is a whole world, but it's useful if you know who to reach out to. And fine, yeah. I'm not really anticipating a whole lot more grants in the first year because it doesn't have any proof of performance yet, but it does, or proof of concept really. But it's going to be there's a lot of really cool stuff planned. Yeah, I'm ready for it.
Yeah,
you gonna be a part of it?
Yes, I think I had enough time to mull. So on air exclusive, I'll be at the swap meet.
Woo! Yay! Why would you not? Right? You got all your computer parts and rebuilt computers and things. You don't want to send computers to the landfill.
No, and also like there's stuff that it's probably a more appropriate format than doing a Facebook Marketplace, or something like that to try and get rid of, old routers that still work. There's literally nothing wrong with them, but it's just, by the time you take all the pictures, it'd probably be better to just spread them all out on a table and let people just kind of go and grab them for cheap and off we go.
Mm-hmm.
I think now's the time. We just spent the last 3 months cleaning out a bunch of our stuff and getting it all organized. So I think by the time the swap meet's up and running, I think we'll actually have some good stuff. So
I love that Leaf is just like sitting here.
Oh yeah, no,
nodding.
It's a lot of it's just like as far as like the whole business owner stuff goes, like I can't necessarily have any input on that per se. So
what can we talk about with you that'll get you engaged?
Like honestly, just I have a lot of opinions on a lot of things. Like they're not necessarily vocalized per se, but
that's why he's the lead tech. So he does a good job of listening as well.
How did you get wrangled into this crew in the first place?
You mean like as far as working with Wenatchee Computers?
Yeah, knowing Brandon and Ashley.
Yeah, I've known Brandon for what is it now, like 13 years.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, about 13 years now. And it actually started over a discussion of a card game that we were both interested in. That
it was a rules question.
I was not you were not my favorite person at all.
I was right.
Anyway.
Oh.
Anyway, so as far as that's concerned, So from there, I mean, we just kind of maintained a friendship. You know, like initially maybe begrudgingly, and I was like, okay, maybe this guy's all right. So
Maybe.
I wasn't a
Maybe.
jerk
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
I had 5
The jury
people.
was still out on that one.
I mean, in his defense, everybody was getting down his throat. Like, I don't think it works that way,
5.
man.
There were 5 people at that same table, and they were like, "You were wrong," and it does that. I'm like, "It really doesn't, guys." Like, and at one point, I was even like, "I'm willing to let this go, but just so you know, I disagree." And then they still wanted to. I was like, "All right, we're calling the game maker, and I'm gonna ask."
What
the
game
question."
was it?
It was Magic the Gathering.
Magic. Okay.
And back when Wizards of the Coast had a support line, which I knew the number off the top, I was like, "Okay." Boom, and they're like, "Where's that?" I was like, "That's the rules hotline. We're gonna call them. We're gonna get an answer."
Did you call?
Right,
yeah.
with everybody, like,
And you were right.
and I was
Yeah.
correct. They were like,
Okay.
"It does do this thing," and he was like, "All right, that's fine." And everybody else at the table was like,
I-
"What just
Doesn't make
happened?"
Just so you know, Brandon, that is so annoying.
Yeah, I know.
Just being the guy in the room that's right, you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, that's so annoying.
Yeah, well,
So how did I mean?
so the
had
pickup-
you did you really want to be friends with him after that? Honestly,
Well, you know, at that point, he was also there to promote the opening of his game store.
oh,
So-
all right.
So at that point, like everybody's like, "Wow, if he's like this about rule stuff, I don't know how I want to feel about his game." And I was like, "Guys, he was right though, so maybe we should take."
Do you want to be better at this game, or do you just want to be mad that I knew a rule you didn't? Like,
So yeah, I went to the game store and we kind of formed a bond through that, and then just here a couple of years back, I took a run at going back to school specifically for computer stuff, and right shortly after I got done, Brandon, no prompting, said, "Hey, I'm thinking about fixing up some computers and would like some help."
yeah.
So I've been with him since.
How long ago was that?
Was
That was November of 21.
correct.
Yeah.
Was when we took the plunge. There were a few things in the works, kind of behind the scenes, where I was like, because he started taking classes, I was like, "All right, well, check in with me on this topic. Like, please
Yeah.
keep me in the loop on like how things are going and what you like and what you don't like, because I'm working on the technology side." And that was actually when I was still doing corporate work for somebody else, even so, like 2020. And because we were doing like some IT and contracts, and I was working as a sales rep. And if we ended up hiring a technician for this area or whatever, I wanted him to at least be able to be considered. That was kind of the initial push. That was my thinking in the background. But yeah, do you want to tell them about the Schland computer opportunity and how that happened?
Oh, I mean, it was a case of we were initially looking into domain names
Mhm.
when we were looking at website stuff, because Brandon was like, "Well, let's go ahead and throw as wide of a net as we can." So he got to looking at it and he said, "Okay, so a good base areas, Chelan, Wenatchee, and I guess Moses Lake." So we were looking at whoever owned whatever domain, and he looked up the Chelan computer domain, and it just happened to link to Deepwater Home and Electronics. And
Yep.
we talked to the owner, and as we were, stopping in for a day, just while he was in Chelan, we talked to the owner, and he said, "Well, I've actually been looking to try to get somebody to run this shop down here anyway." So at that point, it became a discussion of, we can just take that over for you. And yeah. So
that was a whole
Little
wild
kismet.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, turnkey established computer repair business is a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Yes. So it was kind of a whirlwind of events. It was, when we walked in, there was a customer talking to the front desk person saying, "Oh, have you hired your technician in yet?" Whichever else, because computer repair has been a thing up there forever. No, a phone call comes in, another phone call comes in. Computer repair. No, we haven't, whichever else. I'm like, oh God, there's probably something going on here.
Right.
So on a trial balloon, I said, "Okay, Leaf, this is going to sound wild. We have a 6-month window to prove that we can run a shop out of nowhere. Little context. So I'll figure out how to pay you, and how to make the wheels turn. But you want to go spend some time in Chelan, and that's, it's been."
And I grew up in Chelan too, is
Yeah.
the thing. So it's it's a lot of, it's not like I was going out of my comfort zone or anything. It was everybody walking down with somebody that I knew.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a case of like, you know,
Yeah,
it's
perfect.
just, you know, helping out like aunts, uncles, you know, people that from down the street and stuff like that. And so it was a pretty nice experience. And then we, you know, decided to keep the ball rolling on it, and we just kind of picked up traction from there.
Yep.
I want to back up just a couple of steps.
Go ahead.
Yeah. From when you actually made the decision to start your own thing, what were you doing?
I was working for Abadan as their IT sales rep.
Okay. And so what was that process like? Did you just one day say, I'm leaving, quit?
I worked both jobs for 2 months.
Okay.
Which is the reason why I needed to bring him in. Like I was the response.
What do you mean by that? You worked both jobs for 2 months?
I mean, the job that I had for Abadan was the territory sales account rep for like everything north of Yakima, basically. So you had like Yakima, Ellensburg, and then basically everything north was Grandin.
And what were you doing?
So just trying to get IT accounts, like trying to get commercial IT account going and talking to like, you know, school districts or, you know, other small businesses, you know, or whichever else about, you know, what their IT needs were at that time. So, but trying to establish the commercial managed services envelope for individuals and or for businesses or enterprise. And we had some systems to do that or whichever, but there'd been a manager change that happened in April of that year. So April of that year, there was actually a manager change, and the new guy that took over did not see things my way at all. So I knew the end was coming. You know what I mean? Like I knew that at one point something was going to give one way or another, and it was likely to be me that would have to give in this particular case. So I was looking at options, and then this one, I walked into it doing a sales call because I was like, okay, so this is, we're the old Radio Shack. We're the old franchise Radio Shack that, you know, is up here. That's Deepwater Home and Electronics.
Right.
You know, and Ken was actually the sales manager there.
So you were like setting the pieces in place to make your exit.
Yes. So that was on the horizon. And I just, I promised that I would give them a year.
This is after the game store. You had already had the game store.
So the timeline for me is very truncated. Is game store, Xerox guy, Axion Technologies, Abadan, my own place.
So was the game store your first business?
Game store, first business in Wenatchee. Yes, absolutely.
What does that mean?
That means that
That's one of those I answered the question but didn't answer the question. You're not going to get away with that on my podcast, Brandon.
So before that, I actually had so I was basically running my dad's like little tax company, you know, whatever else. Like he would do the taxes, you know, whichever else, but I was basically doing most of everything else. So so there was a family business component, and I had to be very.
Is that where you learned how to run a business?
Yeah, I mean that was the hard on the ground experience. That's where like man to man, like manager to manager, like rep to rep, like whatever. I had plumbers yell at me, you know what I mean? Like that the guy who owns the business just like lose his mind in a tax context, you know, at me, you know, whichever else. I'm like, you know, so I'm sitting here like, he's like, are you questioning me? Like, you want to go out to like, I'm not gonna fight you, you know what I mean? I'm just saying that the system that you thought was here, none of this works and it's wrong, you know, and I figured the truth was our ally in this case. So I could have lied to you. That would have been super easy, you know, all of that very hard work. So, but yeah, that was, I pretty much had
That's what I like about you.
What?
You lead with the truth.
Oh yeah.
And I say a lot that you remind me of Ryan, my husband, because he is like that too. Just leads kind of brutally with the truth sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, hey dude, like that's mean.
Yeah.
He's like, it was?
Why?
Yeah.
Didn't they see that what was going on? Like, no.
Right. No, like I know that, you know, you didn't mean it to be mean, but it just like, it was mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. at the same time, I think it doesn't come from a mean place. It just comes from like a place of truth, which people
you can't
need
fix
to
the
get
problem
that.
if you don't know what it is. I mean, and so like, and if I'm saying, okay, I see that there's this problem, and the other person doesn't see it, and then I make them see it, it's to enlist their aid. It's like, let's fix it. It's not, I'm not just saying like gunshots and like wounded in the street or something, but
I know you and Ashley have 2 girls.
oh yes.
How old are they?
So the oldest is 9 and the youngest will be 7 at the end of next month.
Did they ever get into watching the Cars movies?
I don't know if we've had that one on the list yet or not. I think they've seen one of them, but that was not
okay. So I'm my son's 2. So he loves Cars. Now the first this has a point. I'm telling you, everything I say has a point. So the original Cars movie came out, like over a decade ago. So Ryan remembers watching it with Logan when Logan was a kid. Now Logan's 18.
Yeah.
So there's 3 of them. The first one when Logan was a kid, then the second one, however long after that. And then there was like a big span where they waited. Now the third one's come out, and Lightning McQueen is like old, right? It's like an old race car.
Yeah.
And now has to like train. Or no, he gets a trainer, but ends up kind of like turning the trainer. He ends up training the trainer kind of deal.
Got it.
So the point of this is that I relate a lot with the trainer, right? Like she is always underestimated, like wanted to be a racer, but was always a trainer.
Right.
And then like Lightning McQueen has always been so confident.
Right.
Never had any doubt. Just always knew he could go out there and win. And there's this one scene where the Cruz Ramirez, who's the trainer, goes just asks him flat out, like, when you went out there for your first race, Lightning, like, how did you know that you were going to win? And he goes, I just never thought that I couldn't. Oh. Right. And I just like the first time I saw that, I almost cried. Okay. It was like Cars 3. Nikki had an emotional breakdown. It was like,
is that a Pixar movie?
It is.
Those darn Pixar movies.
Right? That's like you. Like that's you. That's my husband. Like people like you, I look up to, right? Like that. You just never think that you can't do it. You just go out there and you're like, I got this.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter if you can or you can't, right? It's just like in your mind, you never think that you can't do it. And for me, it's just not that way.
Right.
I'm I wonder if I can do this. How am I going to do this? I got to figure this out. I got to have a plan. There's like a million anxiety-ridden thoughts between the thought of actually doing it and the execution of doing it. It's a very different experience.
But I think it takes all the types though, in order to make things run in the long term though. So so I'll take the first,
the yin and yang, man.
But
I learned from people like you.
Well, I learned from people like you. So what I've learned somewhat over the course of which is, again, why my lead tech doesn't talk nearly as much as I do, is that an example is if somebody needs to build a brand new system, whatever it is, okay, I'll go out, I'll build it. Here you go. Boom. This is the best version or whatever else it is. If somebody wants to limp along an existing system that Brandon hates, I'm like, why are we doing this? Or whatever else it is. Leaf does that one because we'll listen to the customer and actually get it right, and we'll only disturb what needs to be disturbed and then put everything back, where it is that it goes. So I'll take the first 5 steps, whatever else it is. But I somewhere along the line, it got beaten to my skull. Like, okay, you need somebody to take the second 5 steps, maybe the third 5 steps.
I think I know who.
Oh. You know who does the
To-
middle five?
To attribute that to your wife, absolutely.
Just wait till I run out of steam.
Her and I
You done yet?
bond for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Do you guys still game?
Gee, wow, like not like I spent all night like gaming with my girlfriend or anything. But,
Yeah.
like yeah.
So
Yeah, tell me about what you're into.
So right now, so there's been
What do I have to watch out for with my son? Oh, that was wow.
Yikes,
wow, that was
What do you have to watch out
rubbing
for
up the
with your
face
son?
and everything.
You're gonna
Holy cow.
okay, what you're gonna have to watch out for your son. This is a bold
Woo.
prediction, but here you go. So
Yeah.
what you have to watch out for with your son is like the things that that aren't really games, but they are highly addictive. They're like tap addictive, like one way or another. I think that's going to get worse as the technology continues to get better. That's all they're trying to do. Like the screen time, like dopamine thing that the social media stuff, that's actually going into a lot of like the entry level games. I think the ones that you can still play in person, where there's a tactile component and there is a social component.
Like what? Give me examples.
Like Monopoly and learning not to throw the board when you're losing.
I mean, we played Star Trek Catan this weekend.
Star Trek Catan, you know, with a group of 4 or 5 people, you know, whichever else. Dungeons and Dragons, where you're doing cooperative storytelling with a group, which again, like if you're a jerk, you know what I mean? Like people are gonna let you know.
I love board games.
Yes.
I'm a huge board gamer. Ryan's more Dungeons and Dragons and thumb video games.
Right. Yeah, the ones where it is less this.
Yeah, okay.
That's that if me to you, so
do you think there's any benefit to video games?
Fine motor
console?
control?
Okay.
I mean, in some cases, it really depends on like the broad strokes of what you're trying to get at. So like I can see a lot of it. So just to give kind of an example, because I'm the young person in the room, I should say. I've got a lot of very strong interpersonal relationships that I've developed through gaming.
Yeah.
Is the thing. So I've got friends that are down like all over the world now at this point that I have gone to visit and, you know, all sorts of stuff. And they're honestly some of my strongest friendships that I have.
I know, like over the years, gaming has gotten a bit of a bad rap.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the content, you know, the violent content or the graphic content of some of the video games.
Right.
But I think some of the research, the long-term research that's coming out of gaming, if you are keeping an eye on what your kids are doing, that it's not as bad as people are thinking. And like you're saying, it can be a connector of communities, a relationship builder, a skill builder. Like it actually isn't as detrimental as people once thought it was.
I mean, yes. So like any low resolution oversimplified version of like all video games are bad, for example, that's probably too much. I just the balancing act of having, you know, interests and being able to tell like what's real and what's not. When you ask for your 2-year-old son specifically, like with all the advances that we're right in the middle of, I think the hazard is very real. I think the hazard of, I mean, I had to explain, and this is a few years ago, I had to explain to my oldest daughter that if it's not in person, meaning like it's on a screen, whatever, it's not real, you know? And so the emotional investment, I think, and the stakes for that, if you have, you know, if whoever's interacting with these things is strong of character and has other things to bounce off of, and it's not devastating, you know what I mean? If someone in your friend chat blows you up for whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, this person's having a bad day. Not like, this person hates me, and just a total, you know, like extremely upset. I think that hazard increases, you know, over time. I don't think that's gotten better in the last 10 years. I think it's going to continue to go the other way.
Oh, that's a good point.
And I was just throwing it out there, like checking in on the emotional investment in communities that you can't interact with in person.
Tangibly interact with.
And the thing is too, like I've got like siblings that are like all spanned throughout all, you know, different age ranges, but like a couple of my siblings that are going through the whole teenage stuff, like they've gotten into situations where it's like they're playing Roblox, for example. Like that's the big one.
Yeah.
And you know, you've got like situations where people are making fun of them because they're playing Roblox and all this stuff, and it's like you've got that, and they've got like friendships that they've made through that, and it's like, again, it's just a matter of parasocial interaction compared to actual in-person communication. So it's
if people want to make fun of somebody else, they're going to find a reason,
right?
Whether it's Roblox or the color of your hair,
Right.
or how much you weigh, or that your feet smell, or whatever the reason may be. It's more of a reflection of whoever that person is. Yeah. And that's the understanding that we need to now impart upon people, that you can do whatever you want. You can, like you said, we can play and interact, but we have to do it in moderation, but with I talk about this on the podcast a lot, media literacy, right? Like we have to do it with our eyes like open, right? Like do it with the cognitive awareness of this is not real. There's a disconnect in reality. And these people in front of you are real.
And a lot of, like, you know, things like tone of voice are lost and a lot of things like that. So it's
we get a lot more information that deals with the emotional side. You know what I mean? Like the stability that comes from not just being like, you know, or whatever. If we're not straining to get meaning out of, you know, a 5-character sentence, you know, or whatever else it is. If you're sitting around, like, again, board games is a really awesome example. It's in person, you know what I mean? And you can tell if someone's upset. They don't have to say anything. You can look at their face and you can tell that they're like not having a good time, or they're whatever else it is. And somebody
do not pass go, do not collect $200.
Well, so you can go sit next to them and you can talk to them, and you have other things to, like, you know, kind of, you know, restore balance to that particular situation. And I'm a big proponent of that.
So you're telling me it shouldn't always be a surprise when the table gets flipped?
I'm saying that we learn how to not flip tables if we know how to socialize in person still. And I think we run the risk of, if we only ever have, you know, virtual friendships, you know, and it's its own, that's its own thing, you know,
more susceptibility to tantrums.
But you do still play online, because one day I walked upstairs, you were Magic,
probably
playing Magic.
That's probably it.
Online.
Yep. So, and again, I don't play that particular game to make friends. In fact, I go out of my way to not play with people that I know, because I play to win, and I win hard enough to make it so that they don't want to play anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that's just how I am with that particular game.
This is so much about your personality.
That's the thing too. Like, Magic does things to me that I don't like. So, well, like there's like an ongoing thing. There's a shop in Yakima that I'm like a local legend at, because it was, for a while there, it was a good year, where there would be like a monthly event that would start. I would go participate in the event, just crush everybody, and then never come back until the next event.
And not talk to anybody, you know, or whatever else. Like I've shown up here. This is a mugging, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might think that this is the game, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like, we play for real. You know what I mean? Just
show up.
Take this very seriously.
Show up, take first, never say anything to anybody, no eye contact, nothing. Walk out and never come back.
Just drop the place.
Yeah. Well,
that's how I get with my crossword puzzles. Totally, I get very competitive in my crossword tournaments online.
Well, okay, so like, it's, you know, niche, and like I've been playing it since I was 14.
I know it's not exciting, but
I've been playing that game almost 25 years at this point, and like can like build decks in my sleep and like do stuff that people are like, I didn't know you could do that. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about people that play every day, that are like in the pro scene, you know, or like have gone to big tournaments, or like doing whatever else. I still like blow people's socks. Oh, I never would have thought to do that way. Like, okay, you know, like, it's just one of those.
Do you ever play in a tournament or anything? Yeah.
So, and I
we've gone to a couple tournaments together.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I always play something.
Is there a lot
weird.
of people around here that would be interested in
There
tournament?
They come and go and they fracture easily.
The community, like, here about, like, I want to say like 7 or 8 years ago was a very established, culture of competitive play. And then all of a sudden, all at once, for various reasons, it just kind of dwindled.
Mhm.
And now we're lucky if there's a turnout of more than 10 people at like one of the local shops, for example.
Oh.
Yes. So, but I mean, those things happen, there's also a lot of stress on the community game store business model by itself. And so I think we're in a plateau while the online, because now, so you asked me what it is that very specifically, Magic the Gathering Arena is a free to play version of the game. Like, you don't have to buy the cards, you don't have to have anything to start, you don't have to, whatever, you can just
it removes the paywall that is there to get started.
Yes. And so when I'm doing that, like, what's the incentive for the game store to host an arena tournament?
Yeah.
Like, they're paying rent in a building, or whatever, to provide a retail environment for people to communicate and play this game. Like, there's not anything there. And Wizards of the Coast, I think that was an oversight for them to kind of not provide some incentive for these game stores to keep doing events and do it that way. So I don't know. Like, I think it's reimagining, and I think once whatever the new business model for that industry is, once that shows up, I think that we'll see a resurgence in that, because there's still interest. People still want to get.
Yeah. Maybe they need that Magic reimagined.
I think so.
That'll be the brand.
It's a card game you play in person. You know what I mean? Like, you can do the online variant or whatever, but it's not the same as actually shuffling the cards and having to slide it across the table and letting your opponent cut your deck and then give it back to you.
Well, that's just any card game.
The super obnoxious, like, just knock the top card off.
Knock the top card, or shuffle it hard, you know what I mean? And bend the bejesus out of your cards, like that type of stuff. There's actually a table managers and stuff.
There's a lot of etiquette.
There's a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And what's funny is, like, over the years, like, you start to notice, like, the different kinds of people that you're just like, okay, like, I know how this guy's gonna play just from the way he's shuffling his cards.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
I wasn't kidding when I said it was poker and chess put together.
Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, the last event that I went to, it was like I could peg people out, and I figured out the way to throw everybody off is the last actual, like, professional tournament that I went to. It was a matter, well, I wouldn't say professional, but competitive tournament at that point. I actually brought with me a loaf of zucchini bread, because I knew that was going to be enough to throw people off their game if I sat down and offered them some zucchini bread.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of zucchini bread, Ryan actually baked zucchini bread from scratch this past week with a zucchini that we grew in our garden.
Nice.
Wow.
Isn't that impressive? It tasted delicious.
The cutting the holes in the trash can for the potatoes was also impressive as well. I thought that was very industrious.
Next week, I'm going to bring some pictures that I'll share on the podcast of our current garden situation. It is very fruitful. It's
so
good. I know, like a jungle out there.
Nice.
For a while there, my grandparents, when they were doing potatoes, they actually did tires.
Oh, tires.
Yeah. So instead of like pulling it out of a trash can, you just pull the tire up and then you just like pull the potatoes out.
That seems better.
So like stacking the tires up and then putting dirt inside. Yep. That's pretty neat. And then you just lift the tire off.
And you just
pick out the potato.
Yep.
Well, but it would hold the moisture a little bit better too.
Yeah. Yeah.
They did that a couple of years, and they did like all sorts of potatoes. They did like, the big russet potatoes. They did.
Yeah, we did a few different kinds of potatoes.
Oh, the blue potatoes were the fun ones.
Okay, now you're gonna like make me like investigate garden techniques for my new house.
No, you're just making me hungry. You guys want to go to lunch after this?
Maybe.
I'm so hungry.
Maybe. I brought you a peace offering, coffee, and everything.
See, I really miss being in a house that had a garden though, because like it would be great to just have like, fresh roasted parsnips.
Yeah.
Like it was really cool.
You can come garden at our house and plant whatever you want. We've got enough space. You just come and tend it.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is too, like I've been trying to like figure out like a little plant that I can grow or something. But the problem is I've got now the place that I've been spending a lot of my time, just 2 cats that eat everything.
Oh,
So it's
we grew some purple basil that
nice.
went wild, and it tastes and smells so good. I'm gonna make some purple pesto.
I think my mom just started, like, she's for the longest time been absolutely terrified of gardening. And I don't know what it was, but I think like what really inspired her was she took the time to grow green onions. So like just
That was the gateway.
for whatever reason, like
It's a
she
gateway vegetable.
well, she had them just growing in the windowsill, and they were just like in a cup, and she was like, look at the thing I did. And so I was like,
I don't kill
That's-
everything. Yay.
and I was like,
This
"That-
is literally the
that's
second
great."
podcast that I've been on that we've talked about a gateway produce.
Right?
Yeah. So on this one, it's the green onion.
Well,
All right.
she tried avocados like a lot of times, like with the avocado pit, just with the
Yeah,
toothpicks and
avocados are
that.
hard. They're
Yeah.
harder than you think. So don't start with an avocado. I'm really bad at gardening. So thank goodness we have Ryan, because I'm good at other things, clearly. Yeah, like this, I got it. I'm like, whatever, we can do this. The child's alive.
Yay.
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 Yeah. Plants, dead. Child, alive.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, the grocery store will keep the child going, right?
Well, no, I can keep the child going.
Where does the food come from? The grocery store.
Oh, the
What-
food comes from the grocery store, but somebody has to cook the food and
No,
remember to feed the child and bathe the child. And
I don't know how much you pay attention to like some of these, like, survey a millennial or survey a Zoomer, or something like that. But like there was one particularly viral one recently where they were asking people like where the food comes from, or if they were concerned about the trucker shortage, or whatever else. And they were like, oh, just go to the store and get more. It's like, yeah, well, what if the trucks don't come in? And the other thing is like, well, but then I'll just go to if they don't have it, then I'll just go to a different grocery store. And it's like, they just do it up. Like, there's like, the food doesn't just grow at the store.
Yeah. I know.
You telling me there's not like milk trees or something?
Yeah,
Milk
right.
trees. So I asked my stepson, my 18-year-old, right? And you've met him, right? You've seen him, his long black hair. He's metal. He wears everything in black. He's got big cowboy boots,
But
big
him and his
combat
friends are very
boots.
polite.
Thank you. They are, right?
So.
I take partial credit for
Oh, there
that.
you go.
So I asked Logan to come into my office in one day. So he did. He came in, and Mike Poyer's office is right next door, and Mike is current city council a member for District 2, and he's running for mayor.
Cute.
So I introduced the two of them.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, hey, Logan just turned 18. He's a voting age.
Get him.
Right.
Tell him.
Talk to him. And so they started talking, and you could tell at the beginning that Logan, is very reserved. He would just like, didn't really kind of stand up, didn't shake his hand or anything. But after about 10 minutes of the two of them like talking, Mike engaged him in conversation and asked him, as an 18-year-old, like what ticks you off about the city? Like, what would you like to see change? And he was expecting like, I don't know, like more candy, I don't know, more free food or something like that, like some 18-year-old answer.
No more stoplight cameras.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
something wild.
Something stupid. and Logan came back and was like, I just went down to Portland with my friends to go see a concert, and there was just so many homeless people, and
Right.
And we have that. And he started talking about the homeless situation in our town, and how he'd like to see that improve. And he wants them to get resources. He doesn't want us to just kind of enable them to keep living on the street, but he wants to see them have resources and kind of be rehabilitated. And you could just see Mike just be so like impressed that like this was his answer, right?
Yeah.
Like, you went down to Portland to see like your favorite metal band, right? And the thing that your impression was that it was like dirty and like needed to be cleaned up, and like there was too many.
That it was cool at one point.
It was cool at one point, but it's not because
Right.
of this.
Yep.
and drugs. There was too many drugs out on the streets,
Yep.
right? Like, and then at the end of their meeting, like Logan stood up, shook his hand, it was like head high, and there was this mutual respect between the two of them.
Yeah.
And you could tell that at the beginning they both judged each other.
Yeah.
And then by the end there was this like mutual respect. And it was just like this cool moment, especially as like, as a mom and as a campaign manager.
Well, but
I was like, woohoo.
That's one of the benefits of doing things in person.
Yeah. Yes.
You won't get that always. I mean, you said that mutual respect thing right there. I've had people say some wild stuff in a text message to me, and I have met up with them the next day and been like, hey, so, and it's like, oh, no, I wasn't that serious about that. Okay. Words are real. You know what I mean? Like, well, what did you think I was going to think when you sent me this thing? Like it's a whole thing.
Like, well, I've got the feeling, just the one. You might have heard it, but like it's there still.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Like, that's.
You have to meet people where they're at, right?
Yeah.
You never know. And you're talking about millennials, and you never know.
Whoa! As as a millennial myself,
are you?
I guess one of those technically I fall in between too.
Yeah, I technically
elder millennial.
By all,
I'm an elder millennial.
That's a term. It exists.
A Correct. Geriatric millennial.
Yikes!
Yeah, it's. Yeah, for me, it's like I'm noticing more and more. I'm like, oh wow, like I guess I am kind of old now.
Mm.
What are you talking about?
He's more mature than his friend group, is how I would classify that.
Well, not just that, but it's a case of like, if I'm this crotchety at 28, I can only imagine how I'm going to be like 40 years from now.
Oh man, 28. He's not even 30.
Right. It gets better, and then it gets worse. It's not always just, a crotchety decline,
So you're telling me I'm not going to be the grumpiest old man?
No.
You're pretty grumpy at 28. I mean, I don't want to spoil it for you, but you mean,
a little bit of
have you met
telling.
you, Leaf?
Oh, no, I know. Like, I'm acutely aware of that.
But we kind of like your grumpiness. It's all right.
It's a good balancing act, if that makes sense.
All right. Here, I'm going to throw this out here for discussion. Do you think that video games make you socially awkward, or do you think that you play video games because you're already socially awkward?
It depends. It really does. I think...
Either way, you're socially awkward. I just hope you realize that.
Right. Yeah. I'm aware of this.
I'm not being rude. I
get it.
That brutal honesty, right?
No,
you gotta go somewhere, right?
And that's the thing too. So it really just depends. So like if for me personally, I spent a lot of time doing video games because I found a lot of my peer group to be actually very detestable. If I'm getting down to it.
Oh,
so
yeah. No,
so
I can relate.
It's a lot of like, I wasn't really a fan of the people that I was surrounded by. So I would, lose myself into immersion, and it would be a lot of escapism.
Mm-hmm.
So for me personally, that's kind of how it became. And I think that like over the years, I didn't think that I would develop some social bonds through it or anything like that. I thought it was just a way to be like, yeah, I don't just go away, stop doing the thing and talking. But it really just that I don't think that's always the case for people. I think a lot of people do lose social skills by just burrowing their head into whatever screen is going on.
Right.
But I do try to maintain like a personal relationship with people around me. Like there are a few, different people that I've plucked out of the masses that I've been like, okay, you are now. So, and I do really work hard on maintaining those relationships and friendships. So
I believe that.
Yeah.
And, I'll retract because and apologize because I don't think that you are seriously like socially awkward. I think you are genuinely a pleasant person to be around, and I enjoy your company.
Well, thank you.
But I think that some people would say like he's different like, and you know, like, to those
right.
people, right? Like, so when I say things like that, to me, I don't find it insulting. I actually kind of find it as like,
Well,
I enjoy being around people who are weird and quirky and awkward, and like, those are my people.
Right, outside of the social norm.
Yeah.
No, and I get that too. And it's a matter of, you know, it's just, I hate to blame this, but like the slight amount of autism I got going on.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like,
I wouldn't even know that,
right,
because
it's
I don't
like,
think you've ever mentioned that to me.
I've got a weird amount of neurodivergence that it's a whole thing. So it's like I lean more towards ADHD, but there's definitely probably a little bit of autism going on there.
Okay.
So it's still a matter of like, I've never really conformed to a lot of the way that people interact.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people will go through like small talk, but I hate small talk so much.
Yeah.
It's like, I can talk to you about the weather, or we can actually like have a meaningful conversation. Like, let's figure this out.
Well, people talk about the weather because they don't have anything meaningful to say.
Right. That's the thing,
but
too.
including me, like, sometimes
Right.
I don't have anything meaningful to say to a particular person, so we just, you know, talk about the weather. Right.
Right, exactly. So I mean, and that's the thing too. So like, I like to cut to the core of everything where I can. So it's, you know, expediting, you know, the exerted effort that would have been spent on skirting around whatever's going on.
You know, for me, it was always the OCD, right?
Sure.
And that was and for me, it manifested in anxiety and like physical fidgeting.
Right.
And, you know, I still, like, I bite and might bite my nails and I bite my lip, and you'll see me like play with my teeth or whatever it is. Like, now, maybe you didn't notice it before, but now like that, now you're going to notice it all the time. But that's how it manifests in me. And I try to like kind of whatever, like normalize it so it isn't so distracting to other people. But now it's like, it has just become part of my personality, like this kind of like talking with my hands, and when I get all like anxiety ridden, I kind of like get all like jittery like this, and like people are like, that's just Nikki, that's just how she is, right? Little do they know that like I like being like this like calm person, right? Like that, I don't like that anxiety, but that's just it is part of who I am.
It's the human experience.
Yeah, definitely. But it's hard. By the end of the day, I can get exhausted. If I don't get control of that, for me, on the regular, I'm talking like 15 minutes on the regular, right?
Yeah.
Like, get control of that inner center self. By the end of the day, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, it's a lot of like being yourself. If like there's different degrees of, there's, you know, the true you, and then there's the amped up version of yourself that you do just to be around other people.
Do you find like you can go home and get some asylum and some peace?
There's usually about like a 45-second period where I'll sit in my car and I'll just like immediately just like and like, you know, just kind of like just shut everything down, and then brain will be like, all right, we've got one directive, and that's to get to this place.
Yeah.
And then I just shut down for the rest of the day.
I get like 10-12 seconds, right? Like, pull in my driveway, and I put my head on the bed, and then Trenton goes, "Mama!" And then I go, "Okay, let's go." That's about it. About 10-12 seconds.
Brute force, but effective.
Yeah.
That's effective.
He gets that from his daddy for sure. Oh my gosh.
Some of us don't turn off. We just crash instead.
Oh, that's so funny that you said that, because that's exactly, that is when I have to explain like Ryan to my family. That's how I said it. I said he just, from the time he wakes up to the time he goes to bed, there's no ramping up or dying down. It's up, go, 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 crash. And I'm not like that. I'm like, I get up and I kind of have to ramp up my day slowly. Okay, here we go. And then at the end of the day, I kind of have to ramp down.
It's that high functioning dad energy.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter is the exact same way. She's literally like, she will be dead asleep, like, whatever. And she wakes up and she'll like,
all right, let's go.
hi, are you ready to go? Hold on. 5 seconds. Okay, we're gone. She doesn't even know what we're doing. She's just like,
all right, let's go.
Yay. Or like she'll be talking to her sister, or whatever, because she doesn't want to sleep. But as soon as I go in there and like, is that what sleeping sounds like? No. Okay. She's out immediately, and then Alara takes longer because her sister was keeping her awake,
Right.
whatever else. But as soon as she stops, as soon as she is still, she's asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't roll your eyes. You're probably the same way.
Yes. So
Yeah.
and she's 9. So
yeah, I know. Well, Trenton, he gets up and he does the same. He like come into our room, he jumps right on top of me. He's like, Mama,
hi,
hey, chips.
Chips.
First thing. He's like ready to eat dinner. He's like ready to go. Fruit snacks.
Off we go.
He doesn't care that it's breakfast time. He doesn't want breakfast. He's like ready for
like, I'm out of here with this.
Yeah. Snackies.
That's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I know. Ready to go.
Yeah. So my energy level on a girl 3 years from now.
Whoo-wee.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see how that goes.
Where's your wife?
What you want? Probably right there.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's already 20 after 1. I want to get some other female energy in here.
Oh, all right.
And I thought, what's her name? Shannon was going to stop by. So I don't know if she still is. If she isn't, and she doesn't, but take a sip of my. What are you doing this weekend, Leaf?
That's a great question. I have a phone that's been going off full of messages that I probably think have to do with what's going on this weekend.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Do you like vintage airplanes?
I do occasionally like a good vintage airplane. Yeah.
Well, the Pangborn Festival flight is tomorrow.
Okay.
It's free to go to. So all you gotta do is head up to the airport, and it starts at 9, goes till 3, and there's gonna be over 100 vintage airplanes all parked on the tarmac.
That sounds like an event that I might pop in for a little
Isn't
bit.
that sound like fun?
Yeah, you don't see a lot of stuff like that happening like in the state. So having the opportunity to do something like that would be something I'll probably take up.
And I'll be there.
There you go.
And I'm gonna do my little pinup retro look, and be playing music and emceeing, and there'll be some raffles and some games, and they always do kind of
all the fun event stuff.
And I have did I bring it? Yes, a list of all of the exhibitors and vendors and stuff. So, look, see, there's lots of people that are going to be there.
Typed up official list.
It looks like there's more than 4.
Yeah. So food vendors: Dee's Beans, Mama Tina's, Our Shack Barbecue, Shaved Ice, the High End Food Truck, Dooley Dogs, Cascade Kettle Corn, and then you got a bunch of 24. I don't want to read all these off, but there's like a few different antique airplane clubs, aviation clubs, Lake Chelan Helicopter. The museum will be there, the National Guard, the library, face painting. They're gonna, I think, raffle off a ride in a helicopter.
Awesome.
Turns out it is helicopters.
What?
That is an inside joke.
Oh, well, thank you guys for that.
Yeah.
Awful.
Wow. I thought like I would have like a 2-hour reprieve from these things. And then...
From
Nope.
All right.
from helicopters.
Yes.
Can they hear her if she sits over there?
Nope. We're gonna kick Leaf off, and we're gonna
no,
put
that's
Ashley
fine.
in.
Come on.
I've talked enough today. We're good.
All right, I'll scoot.
You know I love you though.
It's fine. I don't take it personally.
I know. So this is Ashley. Hi. Another soft spoken.
I got talked into coming to say hello.
What do you mean talked into? I mean,
No,
I
very
asked,
quickly.
and you could always say no, but you know.
You can always say. I think I said something similar, so you can
It's fine.
blame
It's
me
fine.
if you wish.
Are you okay? Do you feel comfortable?
I'm not a camera person, but that's okay.
Well, you're on the other side of the camera. Just Brandon, just stick your big mug in front of the camera and
Ham
then
it up. Ham it up, buddy.
yeah, just ham it up. No,
I'm just talking
I love
directly into the
Ashley.
microphone.
She's beautiful.
Aw.
Everybody should see her beautiful face. So you guys run this place together,
Yes.
right?
More or less.
She's like, I run this place.
No, he runs this place.
She likes
You-
to say that it's my company and she just works here, and I was like,
Why?
I don't know why. I can't
He's the
convince her otherwise.
brainchild. I just have a computer that I take notes and make some phone calls.
No, I've seen how this company works, and as somebody who runs every aspect mostly of their company, I'm starting to actually delegate things out now. But
Yay.
as somebody who mostly for the past 2.5 years has done everything mostly herself, to see the two of you work together as a team has been and amazing, inspiring, right? Like, it is great to see a married couple be able to do this. And I have a couple of different married couples in my life that are running businesses together, which is, I give you so much credit.
Not everybody can, but it helps that he's mostly out of the office while I'm
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what we would do if it was like retail side. Ooh, yeah, no.
I don't know who'd be in charge of that one.
A third person, and
Yes.
you and I would go do something else. So
Yeah.
because like.
But you were raising the girls there for a while he was working, and there was only one income coming in. That must have been.
That was when the girls were very small. Naya was 4 and Alara was just turning 2 when I went back to work for a while.
Yeah.
Separately. And then
She was 2.
She was just turning 2.
Oh, that's right, because she was.
Yeah.
So, and you did school.
Yeah, well, they were babies. I did an online degree.
I mean, there was like 2 years where we didn't do anything because we want to make sure.
Yeah, the
Naya was
online
fine.
degree was mostly I need to leave the house for a couple of hours. Please let me go do something else.
Yeah.
With itty bitty babies, like, everybody needs their breaks. So I did something slightly more productive than just going to the park or something.
Yeah.
Let's go to Starbucks and get a degree.
But she actually got her like.
I did.
I mean, you've done a lot of studying, and like, yeah, we were able to actually check that box finally. So I was like, look, just go get it, and I'll.
Yeah, my diploma's laying around somewhere.
Well, don't dismiss it. That's a huge deal because
So,
most people wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Especially when they have little babies.
Well, and then from there was the confidence to go apply for Walgreens, etc. I think I heard Shannon. Hold on.
Oh,
Hi, Shannon.
it's a party.
I have a folding chair for you.
They
Hi.
have to come in
I will
and
share for you.
speak.
Yeah, come closer to the mic, Ashley.
Tell you what, I will actually go man the store.
You'll go man the storefront.
Oh,
Okay.
good. Somebody has
Jake
to man the
is-
store. See.
It would be best if I didn't. I know very little about computers.
Well, we're currently talking about kids and
Oh,
work and
yes.
balance of life. So
Yeah, it's kind of been
Yeah, right?
the theme of today's show a little bit. Yeah. Are you on a time crunch?
Yes, I've already had to call somebody to cover my floor time because I was supposed to be there at 1.
Oops.
Oh.
But I had every other appointment I had today run over. And yeah, so
I
And
know
you
those
still
days.
it's just
and you
Friday.
still
It's
made it
okay.
I
here.
still made it. I made a commitment. I make it to everything, just not always on time.
That's me too. I hardly make anything on time.
Hi. How you liking the house?
Oh, it's fantastic. We got kitties.
You
I
got
adopted a pair of cats
kitties.
yesterday.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
he can make all the faces he wants, but he already
Pest.
has one of them has adopted him as
Well,
his human. So, and they're this big.
but that's good because
Yes.
then you won't have pests.
Yeah.
They will keep the
Yeah.
ones-
No,
See.
they're pesty age. They're this big and they
Yeah,
attack at 4 a.m.
Oh yeah.
each other
No,
on
they
him.
decided to wake me up by like wrestling with each other
Yeah.
on my face.
Well, I mean, if you only gotten one, it would have just been wrestling with your face.
Yeah,
That's
no.
why I
Right,
got 2. It
right.
was very deliberate.
Yeah.
And you
it's-
probably deserved it. I'm just
I mean,
saying.
just saying.
He
Yeah.
doesn't sleep.
And
a
what
normal night's
Shannon
sleep anyway.
meant, because Shannon asked Ashley, "How's the house?" is because Brandon and Ashley just bought a house.
Yes.
Yay!
Yay.
Did
It
you
took
sell
us
them this house?
6 months.
I did their contract.
Oh my
work.
gosh! And then Shannon actually. Okay. Yeah. This is.
We know everybody.
This was like not planned though. It was just kind of the kismet how this all went down today. So thank you for coming in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, no. Just one more note about cats, by the way. Like,
Hmm.
I opposed cats. I opposed cats that are in too small of a space. I oppose like bad litter box control. I
He's
have
kept
lots
me
of
off cats for
reservations.
10 years.
Yes, with both hands and sometimes a foot.
Yes.
But yeah, now that we have a space that's like
Sufficient.
big,
The
Like-
roadblocks disappeared.
yeah. So she found a couple of cats that she liked. One fell asleep on her. I was like,
It did. I picked him up out of the little kennel at the Humane Society, plugged through the Humane Society. If you're going to get a pet, go adopt one because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a great, they could run great programs. They gave me a coupon to Firehouse Pets.
Yeah. To buy like
A bunch of
yeah.
freebies, a bunch of coupons off. It was amazing. Like, I
If
went
you
shopping.
adopt, they will give you that little
Yes, they have this
package.
great,
Yeah.
just a great program, which was awesome to find out. I was going to get the cats anyway, but
so the little gray one is
Yeah.
like wild. He's got the wild eye, So
No.
that's the picture she said. Yeah, you can tell. Trouble. Like you sent me that. He's in trouble. And then the other one is like, I'm just gonna sleep on this person, and she should take me home.
yeah, I picked
So-
him up and he just stuck his face here and then
Ridiculous.
purred, and then his head just went back and he fell asleep. I held him for like 20 minutes. It's this purring ball of fluff. And how do you not
How
take
do you
that
not
home?
take that home? I don't know.
So
And then now the gray one has decided that like if I leave the room, he needs to like panic meow and like come find me.
yeah, he'll be purring, mostly sleep on me, and he
You
will
need to
stand up
train
and
it to
leave.
sit on your shoulder.
He wants to
Brandon.
be a shoulder cat.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Mhm. There you go.
He woke
Why are you
up
giving me
3
bad
times
looks?
when
I
he was
don't
asleep
know.
on her. When he was asleep on her, he woke up 3 times because like I left.
He would
and,
get
like,
up off
he
the
would get
couch
up
and he
jump
would
down and
follow him.
I'm like, hi, what are you doing?
It's called love, affection, attention.
You're his human.
There you go.
Apparently,
Get
Mhm.
used to it.
I guess that is the order of things now. So
Are they boys or girl
They're
kitties?
boys. They're little boys. Apparently everybody that was at the shelter was all going nuts for the girl kitties, and I'm like, but the little boys are super cute too.
Yeah.
So I don't care.
You've
so
evened
I'll
out the
go-
numbers in your
I
household.
did.
Very good
Yes,
for you.
it's now
Very
3
good.
and 3. You're
Nice.
welcome. I've supported you with some cats.
I that's,
Mhm.
there's a family planning discussion.
You step.
Oh, and Shannon, you helped out with some of the sponsorship for our ladies' night. So I want to talk to you a bit about ladies' night. Well, I can't hear you.
Take
so-
my spot.
Okay.
I'm gonna check on one thing. I'll be back.
Okay.
Go for it.
A little bit of mic manipulation.
Okay.
That's a nice top.
Thanks.
The put together is.
I know. I
Yeah,
I was wearing this yesterday.
You were supposed to wear red. Apparently, the red was the color today.
Well, like
You
I
should have
told I
seen
heard
Leaf
at
was wearing
10:30.
red and Brandon was wearing red and I had red on. It was just like red all over the screen. You missed it.
Well, I mean, truth be told, I have been so insanely. See, there it goes again. Can you grab
Oh, it's life. You know,
Oh,
that's kind of how
gosh.
it goes.
Hold on. Let's see if it's actually something I have to take or.
My phone's been crazy going off.
Oh, I don't know who it is. I'll call them back. They can wait.
Okay.
So no, truth. I mean, truth is I have been so swamped this week that I was wearing these clothes yesterday. I slept in them in the recliner last night.
Oh,
I did not get home from my last appointment until 9:30 last night, and hit the road and was at another appointment at 8:30 this morning.
You work just as hard as I do. I can't believe it.
It's been crazy. I mean, a lot of people, myself included, thought the real estate market was going to really slow down, and it was going to. I don't know if it has for other agents, but I'm swamped. I'm swamped. Like,
Yeah.
Not out here, like it's kind of a hot market right now. I
it's
think
so crazy. I mean, I've already gotten 2 new listings on. Yes, one yesterday, one the day before. I have another one going on tomorrow. I just got one of my existing listings pending with so basically the listing that's going live tomorrow, they're getting theirs on the market because they want to buy another one of my listings. I submitted a couple offers yesterday on some other properties. Looks like those deals are going together. So I'm like, well,
But that's good though.
I know.
That's a good kind of busy.
No, it is, but man, yeah, I'm like, oh, I got to figure out how to do real estate from a kayak.
From a kayak,
Yeah,
or paddleboard.
I know.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I do often, like, answer, phone calls and text messages and emails while I'm on my kayak. But yeah, it's hard to show houses from a kayak. I mean, unless they're waterfront, I mean, then I could show it from.
That's true.
Yeah. So.
Well, yes. So maybe you just need to, I don't know, get some more waterfront property.
Maybe
listings.
I mean, the
Like
last one.
and Chelan and
The last one I listed, it was multiple offers and went for well over list, and it was riverfront though. So
yeah. Well, who do you sell for?
Coldwell Banker Cascade.
Yeah,
that's where my license is hung.
Did you hear what happened to Ryan's parents' house this past week?
No.
Okay, so if you there was a story about it on KPQ. After I think it was 4th of July night, maybe or the night before, whatever. There was a drunk driver came down number 2 Canyon.
I did see that was Ryan's parents'
That was
house?
Ryan's parents' house.
Oh, no.
And and there's even another layer to the story. As they came down number 2 Canyon around that curve, they missed. They didn't make the curve. They were drunk and they went through the fence and hit Ryan's parents' house. That was Ryan's parents' house that they hit.
I have not seen this article, but
saw
I will
the
now be
story.
looking for
Yeah.
it. Oh my
Oh, and then
gosh.
he ran, right?
And then
Not very
he
far.
ran. He got out of the car and he ran to his mom's house, who called the ambulance. So they found him anyway. Now, the other part to that story is that my in-laws had a huge Mike Poyer for mayor sign
Oh, no.
right there at the curve on the fence.
Yeah.
Basically, the car went and
Right
right
through.
through Mike's face.
Oh no.
And I told Ryan that, and Ryan was telling me that because he's like, my parents said they drove right through Mike's face. Mike's sign is destroyed, and I started cracking up in the kitchen.
That's priceless publicity.
Right?
You gotta
That's
get
what I
a
said.
photo and be like, hey, Mike, check this out.
Oh my god, it was so
Well, I'm glad
hilarious.
that everybody seemed to be.
Everybody was okay, and I'm like, well, what if his mom or his dad were like doing yard work or
Right,
something? They would have rammed right into them.
That is scary.
So I was telling them, as parents, my in-laws, that they need to move.
Yeah.
And they need to move closer to us.
Yeah.
In East Wenatchee. And
Perfect.
they need to come talk to you. That was the whole point of that story, was that they need to come talk to you because they need to move.
Yeah. Well, I've
That
got
place is too dangerous.
I've got a really great house coming on tomorrow up in 3 Lakes. It's not close to you.
Not close
But there's
to us.
probably
no.
nobody going to drive into their house from there.
That's
Right.
true.
Yeah.
Is that up there on the golf course?
It's not on the golf course. It's just in the 3 Lakes
Okay.
community. But
Well, yeah.
I am super in love with this house. Like super, super in love. I mean, I see a lot of houses clearly in my business. A lot. And this house, like,
if you're saying it's a nice house, then that means something.
I'm in love with it. It is like the house is great. The yard, like the outdoor living spaces are just the whole place. It just has this whimsical feel to it. And I'm like, Oh man, I really wish I was looking to buy another house, but I'm really not.
Not right now.
I'm really not. I'm like
Yeah.
really close to having mine paid off. I
Oh.
really don't want to sell
Uh,
it. Yeah, yeah. So-
Well, neither of us are looking for a house because Sage just bought a house and
Yeah.
I've only been in mine a year.
Right,
So
right, yeah.
we're set
yeah,
for
none
a
of y'all can
while.
sell right now. You'll have capital gains
You can't
liability.
leave. We're practically neighbors.
And I got to come see where your house
oh, yeah.
is.
You haven't been up yet. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me when.
I
Nikki
told
said-
Brandon, I said, your house is probably more organized than my house. And we've been in our house for almost a year.
I've got the important stuff unpacked. All the unimportant stuff still in totes lining the walls.
Oh, well,
so-
that's, probably
I
still
can
better
walk
than
to
us.
Nikki's house from my house. I like that.
Can you?
I can. It's like 5 blocks.
We're all pretty much neighbors.
Yeah.
I thought for whatever I thought you were on the Wenatchee side, but you are over here, aren't you?
Yeah.
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 Huh.
Yeah,
I think
it's-
we're all pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I'm in the
Wenatchee,
middle.
it's-
Yeah,
You
you're
both come to me.
right.
And
Well,
I
you
have the pool.
Well, you have the pool.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. This is all working out very well. You see, these are my new besties right here. I like it. So you said you sponsored the ladies' night comedy.
Yeah.
But you said you're not coming.
I know.
Why can't you come in?
I have so many. July must be the month of weddings and
Oh.
engagements and different things because I have. It feels like I'm out of town or tied up like almost every weekend,
Yeah.
and then in addition to that, also trying to hold open houses and show clients, and I'm just it is.
Wah,
It's
wah,
so
wah.
I know it's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the summer months. Obviously, it's the busiest months for real estate. I mean, I stay fairly busy all year, but the summer it's like a tidal wave.
Well, yeah. I mean, people are more free to be
Moving.
unattached.
Right.
Yeah.
And kids
Yeah.
aren't in school.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, it's a huge time for people to make those moves.
So I just put the flyer up there. The comedy night, ladies' comedy night is a week from today.
Where's it at?
Up at Snowdrift Cider Company.
Ooh,
Yeah,
good.
right. It's yeah. I hadn't actually known about it until like they wanted to do this. They wanted to do a comedy night. They're like, "Hey,
Okay.
can you bring a comedy night out here?" We're like, "Yeah, sure, we can do it." Yeah, and it's right. It's out there. I'm not. I mean, be prepared to do a drive out there. So it's but it's beautiful. Like way out. It's in the middle of the orchard, and it's
Nice.
really nice. And they've got the tasting room in this like nice grassy area with lots of like flowers, and it's just like a
Aw.
nice kind of
Is it
vibe.
like south? Is it more north? Is it...
It's so up past the airport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So way
Sorry.
East Wenatchee.
Not a bad drive.
No, and it's a nice drive. So it's not. And then so Lane Heichel is our headliner. Michael Lee Miller.
Yay!
Yay.
Love Michael.
Yeah. And introducing April Castle.
Yay! I love her too.
Mhm. And then I'll be
April,
hosting.
April bought my last house.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many like interconnecting
know.
like
Welcome to
weaves and
Wenatchee.
things.
Like,
Yeah.
Between Brandon and the two of you, like y'all know everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll introduce you to everybody.
I'm antisocial.
Yeah,
and
she's like, I don't
anti that.
care. I don't want to
I'm
meet
like a cat.
everybody.
I'll just sit in the corner and watch everybody else have fun.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's a big reason why I stay with Ryan too. Like before I met Ryan, I go to a party and everybody hears about what I do. I was on radio and they like want to talk to me and like hear about my job. And then I'm at a party like talking the entire time. And I'm like, I don't want to be the center of the attention, like
Yeah.
at a party. Then I meet Ryan. Then we go to a party. Ryan has to be the center of the
Oh
attention
my gosh.
all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, awesome.
Right.
Perfect.
You're
Yeah.
coming with me.
I get to sit back, not do anything.
Right.
Right?
It's an absolute riot.
And I love that.
Yeah.
And people are like, doesn't that bother? I'm like, no,
No.
I do not want to be the center of attention. I talk all the time. If I want to go to a party, like I'll engage in the conversation. I don't want to be the center of attention where everybody's listening to every word that's coming out of my mouth because that's my job.
Right.
Right. And I don't want to do my job in a social situation.
No. No. Ryan just is the life of the party, though. He is so much fun. He just you can't not have a good time when Ryan's around.
Right.
You can't. It's like impossible to have a bad time when Ryan's around because he is just an absolute riot.
It's true. It is true. I think not enough people give him enough of a chance too, because sometimes kind of like, and maybe you get this with Brandon sometimes, like the first impression, people are like, "Ooh, that's a bit too much."
Yes. Brandon, I mean, anybody that knows Brandon's like, yeah, that's Brandon, but you have to get past that initial, what just happened?
Who just entered my life and threw me into a whirlwind?
Room, like, but very outgoing, very loudly social, not in a bad way, like, but very much not my personality at all. But so it's funny because there's a balance there because but as stubborn as he is, like I am the more stubborn, but it's that quiet stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of fun when you get the two of us like actually.
That's why you and I, we connect because we are the yin to our husband's yang for sure.
Well, somebody has to keep his feet on the ground, right?
Right.
So, same with Ryan.
Same with Ryan. Yeah, there's no ground in his sign, in his chart whatsoever. He is all air all the time. So somebody's got to keep him on the ground.
You just, it takes a minute because Ryan just has such big energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just such big energy that it takes a minute to like adjust and assimilate into that flow. But once you get into his flow, it's like, it's an amazing ride.
Yeah. I was like, get ready for the ride. Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Cause you're not going to just learn about him. Like you're going to learn about yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's how I've been, right? Like he challenges me to challenge myself every day, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like in relationships are difficult, and I see all of us and we've in relationships now, and we know about relationships in the past. We've all been in relationships in the past that have worked or not worked or have had trauma or whatever the case may be. But like if we all have flaws, right? And if people were like, you and Ryan are just so different. Like, we don't get it. I don't get it.
You guys are the universe seeking balance.
Right. Entropy seeks chaos. Chaos seeks entropy, like whatever that is. But I look at Ryan and I go, if he was not looking to improve himself, if he wasn't looking to be a better man, to be a better dad, to provide for his family, to do better, to have more, or like if he wasn't just trying to work on himself every single day and do the best he could every single day, just like I am, it wouldn't work.
Right.
It wouldn't work because I would resent him for just not putting in the work.
Yeah.
Or just, because I'm over here trying the best I can, trying as hard as I can, or giving my best every single day. And I'd be like, well, he should be doing the same thing. But I do. I see him every single day get up, give his all, chickens and gardening and fixing the truck and doing this and trying to be there for his kid and like all this stuff. And he's trying to better get more hold on his emotions and all of that.
He's a good friend too. Like he's the first person to come to your defense. He really is.
Fiercely loyal. Yeah.
What you're talking about, it's like you talk about we all have our flaws, but it's not only that you have to find someone that like counterbalances your flaws, but that also wants to work on them with you. Like, we don't have to just accept our weaknesses and that's just the way we are. Like, you should never just accept the negatives, right? You should always be working to improve yourself, to always be showing up every day and doing something a little bit better. And so you find that person and someone's like, I don't understand how this works. It's like, because they don't see what goes on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see how you push each other every day and how you get each other out of bed in the morning and how you deal with no sleep or how, the kids are sick. So who's doing what and how we balance and here's the money over here and someone's taking care of the house or however it works out that, that balance is really important. And it takes the pair to get it done. I mean, a lot of people are great on their own. I'm not. I'm terrible about just life in general on my own, but with my family and my husband and my kids and cats and whatever else shows up in a day, it's everybody putting all the effort in as a group and a unit, and it just is exponentially better that way.
Yeah. And we all have different kinds of families, right? Like this isn't a show about Ryan, right? Like I didn't mean it but it's about relationships in general, because it's not just marriages either.
No.
Like this can expand on friendships.
Absolutely.
Like accepting people and meeting people where they're at. And people ask me a lot, like they don't understand certain friendships that I have with people who are different minded than me, or I have just all different kinds of people in my life that just come from different backgrounds and different experiences and have different beliefs, right? And they go, well, how can you be friends with them? And I'm like, well, we don't agree on everything, but they're their own person, and you're your own person, and I'm my own person, and I want to allow people to be who they are. Not everybody jive. I don't jive with everybody.
What?
Right?
No.
Not everybody jives with me.
I actually have a hard time believing that. You are the people person that I know.
Well, thanks. Yeah. But there are only so many people in my inner circle, right?
Sure.
Like, yeah. So I feel like I have a way to connect. I can feel like if I give it enough time, like people connect with another person if you can find a common thread. But that doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to let you in my inner circle and like invite you over to my house to go swim in my pool, right? Or invite you to hang out with my kid. Certain same types of energies will, or symbiotic energies will find each other in life and gravitate towards one another. But I try to just meet people where they are. I learned that from my mom.
It's important.
Well,
you'd miss out on a lot of people, a lot of really amazing, good people, if you couldn't just meet them where they are.
Well, and then I mean, there's so much that we as individuals don't know, or our opinions might be narrow or uninformed.
So true.
So it takes meeting people that don't believe the same things as you, or don't
challenge your thinking,
you do, or aren't in your same box. To help you grow, like we're talking about,
right? Expand your perspective. Absolutely. Do you have to go?
I do.
Okay, I love you so much.
I love you.
Tell Brandon to come back in.
Okay.
Thank you for being a sponsor of our ladies' night.
Yeah, no, I'm so happy I could be a part of it in any way.
And don't forget that you have tickets that you can give away to people because that comes with your sponsorship. So throughout this next week, figure out who you want to give some tickets to.
Okay. Thank you for putting that back in my brain.
My
brain has been so full with so much this week that
I figured
that fell off the radar of my brain. Like running every which way but loose. I'm coming around to
give me a hug.
I love you.
Are you gonna come swim or something, or
I'm going
soon?
Yes.
Soon in 6 weeks when you're free, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna try my darndest to go paddling tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to go paddling tomorrow.
Do you have the boys this weekend?
We do not. We have them next weekend.
I was gonna say, maybe if you guys like vintage planes and stuff, you can come up to the airport for Pangborn's festival flight tomorrow, 9 to 3. Lots of those vendors and food and vintage airplanes.
I think we're gonna try. We might be able to come early. I'm gonna try to hit the river later in the afternoon because it seems to be really low until like around 2 or 3, and then it comes up so you can get through the channels a lot easier.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to go paddling later in the day. But so the only other thing I have tomorrow is to go put a sign on a lockbox. Put another listing.
Well, we'll tell anybody. Shannon Delaney Craft. If you need to buy or sell a home.
I'm here to help.
She's the best.
She's the best.
If I'm not sleeping, I'm working.
I think this is a good room that we all understand that one.
Yeah.
Totally.
This is it.
Oh,
I love you.
Oh, there's so much love in here.
All right.
Send the boys back.
Okay. I'm sending them back.
We're gonna be wrapping this thing up here. It's 1:52. 1:52.
I hope to kill a little bit of time.
Okay. You guys gonna come out to Ladies' Night Comedy
I
Night?
didn't know about it. It sounds fun.
Yeah.
Are the boys invited?
Well, I mean, if they don't mind a little ladies' night, I guess. Sure, for sure.
It sounds fun.
And did you see this?
I did not.
Comet magazine. And the inside front cover is the Washington State Swap Meet ad.
Very cool. It's a whole cover.
Whole inside. I know, a whole page, right?
That's awesome.
Woohoo!
Yay.
So swap meet is pretty cool. I want to talk about that before we go. Have you ever been to a swap meet?
I never have.
Or like a flea market?
Yeah, I'm familiar. It's been a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen one around here in quite a while, but oh my gosh, this actually reminds me. Today is the anniversary of the day my grandfather passed away, but my grandfather, for like the later part of his life, was a career flea marketer.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay,
he would like buy stuff like wholesale and then like take it out to the flea market every weekend. And this was in Pennsylvania in the Poconos. They had they have this big parking lot, and it was like a permanent structure, but partially indoors, partially outdoors.
Sure. How many people are coming this week?
Yeah. And seasonal. So like it was only with the warmer weather. But I remember that growing up as a kid, going to the flea market all the time. And it was so much fun. We'd all save up our money and whatever, just go to the flea market. So a swap meet is and the Washington State Swap Meet. So this is a statewide festival coming to East Wenatchee.
Oh, wow.
Really meant to be open to people who want to swap, but also people who want to trade, sell, and then obviously buy and purchase or even give or whatever. So it can be like those like wholesalers, resellers, like the people at the flea market, like my grandfather, but it could also be just like general yard salers. So the guy down the street in Wenatchee or East Wenatchee wants to just clean out his garage, they can get a spot.
I'm glad you're telling her about it, because I committed us to doing it and I hadn't even told her about it yet.
Oh, thanks. I had no idea.
Well, yeah, it's telling her and everybody. So like a general yard sailor who just wants to clean her stuff up after the summer, like get their stuff out of the garage.
Right.
Then we'll do like another section of collectors, antiquers, junk teakers.
Yeah.
Then
better watch out. Want to get in on all those antiques.
Yeah, right. And then there's gonna be like mechanical stuff and car parts and computer parts and the more technical mechanical stuff. And I want to do some handmade goods, like homemade gifts, artisan stuff, like stuff that Mary does and has in her store, all the professional artisan made goods. So they'll kind of have their own section. And then we have activities and things throughout the weekend. So we have an entire kids area, and we're going to do kids vendors. So like kids who make crafts can have a little table to sell their crafts. So your kids, if they want to do it, totally.
They do a very, very watered down version. They call it Market Day at their school. They do it once or twice a year where they give them little school bucks to every kid. Starts with like 5 or 10 or whatever. And they each have their little stalls, and they do like a food booth, or like one of my daughters made bookmarks, like just tons of bookmarks. And then they sell things. And it's been a really big hit for them at that level. So
I wonder if the Montessori school would.
Let's talk to them about it for sure, because Pinnacles is going to do a day where they're going to bring in some of their teachers and kids and teach an activity, like teach a craft to anybody.
But if you're doing
wants
kids' craft tables, I mean, that's one of the things that they always do.
Yeah.
So it seems like a no-brainer that
maybe.
I mean, the next parent meeting is Tuesday.
Is it that soon?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I guess it is that time of July.
So if you remind me, I mean, I can bring it up. Or
yes, absolutely.
Like we can
okay.
talk
So
about
when is the swap meet?
So the swap meet is
Otherwise.
September 8th, 9th, and 10th. So it's the weekend after Labor Day. Right. So you get a long weekend to get all your stuff together, and then yeah, and it looks like, I mean, there's some stuff that's not confirmed, like, you know, some of these details that are going to be nailed down. I think one of the Rotaries wants to do a beer garden for the weekend. We're putting together a cornhole tournament.
Nice.
We're going to do a Friday night swap hop instead of a sock hop, a swap hop dance out in the lawn. We do a Saturday night movie out on the lawn, family movie out on the lawn. So there's gonna be activities along with, so it's not just a swap hop, it's really a festival.
Okay.
So really fun. It's a lot of work, but food truck alley.
It sounds like a great draw to the valley from.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Like, I just love where we live, and I think people should see it and want to come here more. The end. Period.
The end.
Done.
That's it.
That's it.
I don't disagree.
We're like right in the middle of the state.
Exactly.
So it's like, why
3 hours is the longest you would have to drive from anywhere else to get here.
Why are there not more state festivals happening in the center of the state? Like, why is that not happening?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like the airport, I think, might actually be one of the factors. So I hope they you know, are able to put their business hats back on, because Spokane was had a similar problem, actually. Like, they were a natural hub for a bunch of stuff that was kind of East Central. Yes, Central is in actually like Idaho, I think, or it's like really close to the Idaho border. There's a whole thing. So Spokane was always a natural place for all the university stuff to happen over there. And their airport, their airport struggle. Thank you. Their
WSU is in Pullman. Central's in Ellensburg.
Okay, I was like,
I was trying to figure out what you were talking.
I know I'm getting that.
I was trying to do
the
same thing.
Anyway, so the Spokane was always a natural hub for a bunch of stuff. And their airport for the longest time was the biggest bottleneck. So I think for Wenatchee, that's kind of a similar deal. Like, we have people who come here, but like, we took the shuttle recently to go to SeaTac instead of doing a connecting flight out of here, because it would have added like,
it was probably be
$250 per person flying, you know, or something. And it's not
fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
But if they do it, like I said, if they do a Spokane style, like, you know, upgrade of their infrastructure, you know, we might actually.
I think we might see that maybe in the next 18 months.
They just added.
I think so.
Didn't they just add the bigger plane out of the airport? So
yeah.
So it's not all puddle jumpers anymore, huh?
They're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah. They're working on something.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. So September 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. WashingtonStateSwapMeet.com is the website.
Nice.
I'll have to check it out.
We're excited.
Good.
We're going to be there.
I guess I'm excited. I've just been told.
We're going to get those two kittens on a leash, and they'll be walking around the grounds.
And then put them on a shoulder. They'd probably
there you
have
go.
a good time. Yeah.
See, you have a shoulder cat.
Have you seen those cat backpacks?
Yes,
I saw
with the bubble.
Yeah.
You're one of those.
No, I even told the guy at the pet shop, I don't think I could ever wear one. I think it's a great idea.
Let her be whoever she wants to be.
I'm a crazy cat lady.
A crazy cat lady, that's fine. Oh, we did get I got a comment from Joe at Blue Skies Food Truck. He says he can't wait for Havana Nights, live Cuban music, incredible salsa dance lessons. Ooh. Sign me up. That's going to be in August. So tomorrow is Pangborn Festival flight. And then the Havana Nights they're going to shut down Valley Mall Parkway in front of Clearwater, August 12th. So, and then classic 1960s style, like Havana type cars, car show, plus some bands playing, Cuban bands, and then salsa dancing, and then me, of course.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Yeah. Another night.
they're
So mark it
shutting
down,
down the whole-
August 12th. Yeah, that from 9th, Valley Mall Parkway all the way to Gateway Park. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's a good, I marked it. It was like a good 650 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that'll be fun too. And so, and food trucks. So it seems like I think Blue Skies is going to be there. Come on, Joe, sign up for the swap meet, dude. I need some food trucks. All right. That's it. It's 2:00. Well, it's 2:02. So we're done. Thank you guys
flew right by.
for like hosting and letting me do this here. This was a blast.
Yeah. For a pickup podcast, like that was
Yeah.
it's pretty good. So.
Nobody knew that it was a pickup podcast.
You didn't have to spill the beans.
Oh, did I spill the
Gosh,
beans for the
man.
last 2 minutes after?
Ay. All right. Well, we do have some tickets available for the ladies' night comedy show, including some of the VIP tables of 10. You get 10 front row private table. Oh, this is my doctor's office. They can wait. You get 10 tickets, front row table of your by yourself, plus 10 free drink tickets to share at your table, and recognition from me on stage. So you could get that package, or any of our general admission tickets at darlingproductionswa.com. And we'll see everybody at Pangborn Festival of Flight tomorrow. Thanks again, guys. Brandon, Ashley, come and see them if you need anything, maintenance, service, repair, on any of your computers. Give them your information. How do they get in touch with you?
So my cell phone number is widely available. I don't sleep much. So if you call me and I answer, I wanted the call. It's 509-668-2465.
Slow that down.
Her phone number, which is the dispatch line, is 509-421-1448. And then the WenatcheeComputer.com has a contact form. We do have a Facebook page. It's just facebook.com/Wenatchee Computer. And then the email that goes to the whole company is tech, at WenatcheeComputer.com. If somebody's got something that's on fire, if you send something there, all of us get it. So we're happy to jump in and get it handled for you. So.
Or you can always come into the shop.
Absolutely.
I was going to say our office is at 1630 North Wenatchee Avenue, right where all that crazy construction's going on right now.
Used to be the Red Apple Center. They put new signs on the building, and one of them's mine. So
Yay! I'm sure we'll do this again. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Nikki.
Yay!
I love ya.
We love you too.
We will be back with another episode of the What's Up Wenatchee podcast next Friday, and we'll be Ladies' Night or Ladies' Day, getting ready for Ladies' Night. You can support this podcast. It is a fully community-supported podcast at www.supercast.com. Or go to darlingproductionswa.com to get information on our upcoming events, including the Washington State Swap Meet coming to East Wenatchee, September 8th, 9th, and 10th. We'll see you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.